Well, hi everybody. This is the resource that we want to make available to you for your personal use or for use in small groups. We've been looking at a rather obscure story in the life of Daniel. Everybody, when they turn to the book of Daniel, they rush to the fiery furnace or perhaps to the lion's den. These are exciting stories. But the one that we looked at is found in Daniel chapter 2, where King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, most powerful man in the world at that time, got irritated. He had a habit of being irritated, and he wasn't getting much sleep. That's not good for a habitually irritated person. He was having dreams that alarmed him. He wanted someone, he had a whole team of people, advisors, who were supposed to be able to help him, and they weren't doing very well. He got mad and ordered the execution of all of them, including Daniel and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And what we read here, what we see in this story is how Daniel responded to a time of national and personal crisis. The executioner is on his way, so now what are you going to do? We saw that he was responsive rather than reactive. He spoke wisely and tactfully to the executioner. I mean, imagine that. The chap's knocking at the door with a sword. And Daniel managed to not react, but rather to speak with tact and wisdom. That causes me to want to ask you, can you think of a time when in your life you reacted rather than thoughtfully and prayerfully responded, and it all went wrong? What did you learn from that junction moment? Or perhaps you might want to explore it in a different way. Was there a time when you were tempted to go in one direction, but then you prayerfully considered that decision, and you know that you were spared disaster as a result? We talked about taking responsibility for ourselves. Daniel took responsibility. He went to see the king. And we saw that during this season, if we are those who are just passive about our spirituality, we just show up at church, expect the preacher to hand out some information, we sing, we don't sing, depending on what we feel like, and then we go home and eat dead chicken. If we take that approach to life, our spiritual lives won't thrive. Daniel took responsibility. And so, is there a way in which I need to embrace a fresh discipline in our lives? We talked about being sure to connect. Daniel had his prayerful community in Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They stood together. They prayed together. And we're beginning a new series next week in Ephesians. And so the challenge is, are we viably, powerfully connected in the Timberline family in a life-giving way, taking responsibility for our own spiritual growth? We talked about listening to God and listening to others. God spoke to Daniel. Can we assume a posture of listening, not only to the Holy Spirit, but being open to listen to others? Here's a question. When was the last time that I said, well, actually don't think about me because I'm wrong all the time and I know it. But when was the last time that you said, I was wrong? A friend helped you out because you gave them permission not to tiptoe on eggshells, but to speak a word into your life that maybe you didn't like, but it really helped you out. And are you one of those people who tends, when you're in conversation, rather than listening to others, you just use what they're saying as a moment to gather your own thoughts and take a breath before you launch into the next sentence? Are you a listener? Finally, we talked about finding avenues of sacrificial service. Daniel put his neck on the line, literally. He stepped up and he served. And so, are we contributing? Are we serving? Are we making a difference? Not just in the program and the life of Timberline, but are there ways in which in your community, in your road, street, where you can be a servant this week, reaching out to that individual who could really use your help? Why not, if you're in a group, why not share a moment where perhaps you did that and share what happened, or perhaps share when somebody else did that for you? I really hope that you will enjoy reflecting on this story, which again, I've never preached on this episode before. in my entire 35 years on this planet. So I hope you enjoy looking at it and gleaning from it. God bless you. Have a great week.